All right, today we're cracking open a really interesting technical report. It's about a technology that claims it can fix some of our most annoying water problems, but get this, without a single chemical. Let's see what it's all about.
So, here's the big question this report puts on the table. Can something as simple as a powerful magnet actually change our water for the better? I mean, really change its fundamental properties? That's the core idea we're going to explore, pulling everything directly from the company's own documents.
Now, before we get to the solution, let's talk about the problems. And honestly, you'll probably recognize some of these. We're talking about that crusty white scale on your shower head, high salt soil that just kills your plants, or those stubborn reddish stains from rust. They're all problems linked directly to water quality.
Okay, so how do you fix all that? Well, this report lays out a pretty wild idea, a magnetic solution. This is all about treating water physically, which is a huge departure from the usual chemical dump we're all used to.
So the core idea here, according to Delta Water's own report, is that they've built a system that uses powerful magnets to, and I'm quoting here, grant water energy and restore its natural properties.
And we're not talking about some small-time operation here. The report claims they have a serious global footprint, with agents in 25 countries spread across Europe, Africa, Asia, and North America.
So what makes this thing tick? The report lists a few really key features. First off, it's totally passive. No electricity needed, no moving parts to break down, all thanks to permanent magnets. They basically sell it as a fit-and-forget solution, and they mention it's made in Egypt with Japanese magnet tech.
Okay, so that's the setup. But how in the world is this all supposed to work? Let's get into the science, at least the science as the report explains it.
This slide really gives you the whole before and after picture, according to their theory. On one side, you've got what they call normal water, big, messy clumps of water molecules and minerals. Then, on the other side, you see the after picture. The report claims the magnets create smaller, neatly organized clusters and break the minerals apart, making the water way more effective.
All right, let's break that down. The whole idea starts with something called water clusters. The thinking is that water molecules don't just float around by themselves. They supposedly gang up into these big groups, which can actually be too large for things like plant roots to absorb easily.
So, if water molecules are all clumped together, how do you break them up? Well, the report points to a principle called the Zeeman effect. The theory they present is that the super strong magnetic field weakens the bonds holding the water molecules together, which causes those big clusters to bust apart into smaller, more useful groups.
Okay, that's the water. But what about all those minerals that gunk up our pipes and create scale? For that, the document brings up another physics concept, Lorentz forces. They use this to explain their theory that the magnetic field zaps the charged mineral ions, breaking apart the big clumps so they just float along instead of sticking to everything.
Now, to back this all up, the report says there's actual physical evidence. They claim that electron microscope images, which they say were taken with help from Alexandria University, show these mineral clumps literally breaking apart right after they pass through the magnetic field. Okay, so that's the theory, but what does this actually do in the real world? Let's look at the benefits the report claims you'll see, everywhere from your home to huge industrial sites. Let's start at home. The number one benefit they talk about is stopping that nasty scale buildup. The way they describe it is pretty straightforward. Hard water goes in, the magnet changes the minerals so they can't stick to anything, and voila, your appliances are protected. They say this makes everything from your water heater to your dishwasher run better and last longer.
Okay, get ready for this one because it's a huge claim. The document says this process can slash the total microbial count in water by up to 98%. Yeah, that includes nasty bacteria like E. coli. The theory is that the magnetic field just makes it a terrible place for microbes to live.
And the list of reported benefits just keeps going. The document talks about everything from softer skin and hair to washing damaging salts out of farmland. It also claims it can stop rust stands by keeping the iron dissolved in the water so it doesn't have a chance to oxidize and turn everything orange.
Now here's an application I bet you weren't expecting: concrete. The report makes this really interesting claim that if you mix concrete with this treated water, it can get 10 to 25% stronger. The idea they offer is that the smaller water clusters help the cement hydrate more completely.
So when you put all these different claims together, you can see how the report starts to frame this technology as more than just a fix for hard water. They position it as part of a greener way of thinking about water.
Right. So what's the connection to green building? The report lays out a few key arguments.
It's about efficiency. Stopping scale buildup means your water heater uses less energy. Treating water physically means you're not using harsh chemicals. And making your pipes and appliances last longer means less waste. It's all part of their pitch for its environmental benefits.
And this isn't some one-size-fits-all gadget. The report makes it clear that the whole system is designed to scale up or down depending on what you need, from a small unit for your house to giant ones big enough for an entire factory or city water supply.
Which brings us to the big, final question this report leaves us with. It really pushes you to think about water treatment in a whole new way. Could the answer to our biggest water challenges lie not in adding more chemicals to the mix, but in harnessing the basic forces of physics itself? It's a pretty fascinating thought.